We often overlook commercial vehicles, especially in their heritage. Used and abused and driven on the ragged edge, once they're past their best, they tend to end up rotting away in a field or turned into tuna cans. Not this one though. No, this is just about getting into its prime. Hello and welcome to the Citroen HY. That's right, the Citroen HY has found a new life, predominantly in this, the catering trade. What I'm going to do today is have a look around this French utilitarian icon, talk a little bit about what makes it special and a little bit about its history. Then we're going to get it out on the road and I'm going to sum up for you what I think of the HY. So let's get into it. Introduced in 1947, the Citroen HY was France's answer to the Volkswagen split-screen T1 Transporter. You see, France has always had an uncanny knack for making quality, simple, rugged, agricultural utilitarian vehicles, and this was no different. Available from 1947 right the way through to 1981, the HY was incredibly popular, predominantly in France and the surrounding European countries. It even took a nice market share in Germany, which I'm sure Volkswagen weren't thrilled about. So, what made the HY so appealing? Why did buyers go for these over a Volkswagen? Well, it came down to a few things, but predominantly you can label it down to French engineering. The HY was produced with corrugated metal. As you can see, it's rippled all over. And what that meant is they needed simple press tools to make it, which really cut down manufacturing costs, but also greatly improved strength without adding weight. The curb weight of a HY, when it doesn't have a kitchen in the back of it, is only around 1,400 kilos, which is nothing for a commercial vehicle. Pair this with a flat floor and simple part sharing, which meant maintenance in the aftermarket was very easy. Parts were readily available and cheap. The HY was onto a winner right from the get-go. There's a reason it stayed in production all the way into the 1980s. The HY was available in a variety of body styles, which were designated by the second letter of the model name. Whilst this is a blanket name, the HY, there was the HY, etc., such as this, the standard cargo van. You could also get a pickup or a bare chassis cab, if you will, which would then be taken to a coach builder of your choice to make things like a cattle truck. The HY van was predominantly sold as such, as a standard cargo van in either short wheelbase standard form or this long wheelbase form, which stretched it out to around 5.3 meters in length, really improving load capacity and having some unexpected benefits further down the line, as I shall now demonstrate. You see, these HY vans have garnered all sorts of positive attention in the modern era, not from French builders and farmers, but instead caterers. You see, with the lightweight construction and flat floor and this vast cargo space, these make wonderful food trucks. I'm sure you would have been to some sort of market or event or something like that, and you would have seen these selling coffee, burgers, burritos, pizza, you name it, there's a HY that's selling it. These are very, very adaptable. This particular example used to sell steak frites. We've got sinks, cabinet space, worktop space. There's room for fridges, fryers, gas lines. These just work so well for this. And because there were so many built, they weren't too expensive either. These really did soar in popularity a few years ago, and I think it's only going to go upwards from here. Inside, there's not a lot to say. It's simple, it's plain. There isn't really much of anything, but it's functional. Visibility is good with the vast old side mirrors. I've got a nice big wheel. Apart from that, there's not much else to talk about. Simple gauge cluster, a few buttons here and there. This particular van has had a GPS speedo and an aftermarket head unit fitted, but even then, simplicity is the key in here. The HYs were available with a variety of engines, both petrol and diesel, ranging from a 1.6 right the way up to 1.9s. They were quintessentially classic commercial, shall we say. They were loud, they were slow, they were sluggish, but they would sit on the motorway from market to market comfortably all day long, every day of the week. They weren't fast, but they didn't need to be. However, in the modern era, when people are using this to go from food market to food market and traffic speeds have obviously increased, what we're finding is a lot of HVans have engine swaps with a modern unit, and this van is no exception. You see, under here, what we have is a 1.8 litre Volkswagen petrol unit from a Passat of all things. Paired with a 5-speed manual gearbox, it means this Citroen gets along the road a little bit nicer than the others, and you can get to your food pitch at Glastonbury a little bit quicker. So with all that being said, let's get the H-Van out on the road and see what it drives like. So we're on the road in the H-Van, on the move. What's it like to drive? Well, with this, a modern petrol engine, it is greatly improved. It's a little bit faster, it's a little bit more livable, it's certainly more comfortable at modern speeds. However, it still has that classic French commercial vehicle feel to it. It feels a little bit fragile, it's loud, it's rattly. There's a worry that the door's going to fall off at any minute, you know. It just feels very bare bones and raw in here, which is exactly what it is. This particular van is mated to a 5-speed manual box, but because of how the linkages are set up with this engine swap, the gear system is back to front entirely. So first is where you would expect fourth to be, second is down from that, and then you go backwards. It takes a little bit of getting used to, certainly. All this being said, the box itself does feel very good. I've got nice clutch action and changes are crisp. This van, being a long wheelbase, really benefits from the addition of power steering. I imagine this would be really hard work otherwise. That being said, it feels a little bit notchy, perhaps a little bit of tweaking. This is, after all, an engine swap van. There is no exact manual for how to set this up, but I imagine the motivated individual could do a great job with this. Brakes, well, this van's been upgraded with discs and pads at all 4 corners, and it does benefit from that. Although it's not a particularly heavy thing, made a little bit heavier than curb weight with all the cabinets, etc. in the back, it does stop quite well. If I put my foot down, it does get up and go. Not particularly quickly, I might add, but you could comfortably take this on a dual carriageway, even a motorway, so long as you're not expected to be sitting in lane 3 or 4 at 75, 80 miles an hour, overtaking everyone. This particular van has some upgraded aftermarket seats in it, and they are very comfortable. It's a great improvement because the standard seats in this are very bare bones, and you do feel every lump and bump in the road, that's for sure. You do get some really adoring looks in this thing. It has such a lovable quality to it. It looks happy. It's got a little bull nose at the front. It's a happy looking vehicle. I do have some ventilation in here, but it really isn't very good. It's one of the warmer days of the year so far. We're in the 30s and I'm really feeling it in here. That being said, in the back, I don't know if whether it's to do with the kitchen setup that's in there. It's actually quite well insulated, and it's certainly a lot cooler. I would definitely prefer to be driving it from behind the sinks over there. So, the H-Van. Let's sum it up. Well, I think it's a wonderful thing. I've always been a fan of classic commercial vehicles, and the H-Van is right up there in my rankings. It just works. It does what it says on the tin. It does exactly what a commercial vehicle should do, but now has a lovely level of old world charm about it. It's well thought out, it's well designed. Yes, the engine bay is a little bit small and tight for working, but these are reliable things. You won't need to be in there that often anyway. Inside, it's incredibly roomy. Citroen claim a 6-foot high standing area in the rear, but at an optimistic 5'9", I'm not going to be able to put that to the test. What I can say is I think it's a lot more spacious and you can really sort of move about. It's more flowy inside than the equivalent Volkswagen, that's for sure. I think in the aftermarket, these have really come into their own and values are only going to go up. You see companies now making fiberglass replicas or trailers in the shape of these because they are so sought after. If you can get a good one, I think now's the right time to do so. Thank you very much for watching the review of this mighty French warrior. I do hope you've enjoyed, and please do check out our other video reviews if you like this sort of thing. Remember, if you have a classic car to sell, please do get in touch at classiccarbuyer.co.uk. We'd love to hear from you. Bye-bye.